evident that there's a fascinating interplay between nutrition and neuroscience. Our brains are not just engines of thought and feeling. They're dynamic organs and require a variety of nutrients to function optimally. Things like processed sugar, unhealthy fats like saturated fats, these foods lead to insulin resistance, inflammation, oxidative stress. They're all forms of not just physiological aging, but the way that the brain ages as well. Just because something is edible doesn't make it food. And by shifting the focus away from processed foods towards a more whole food-based diet, we can mitigate these risks that are associated with cognitive decline, but also physiological decline. You'll notice when you eat clean, you feel a lot happier than when you eat rubbish food. And this awareness can guide you toward making choices that not only satisfy your hunger, but also uplift your mood and enhance your cognitive abilities, your abilities to get tasks done and get rid of that brain fog that most of us suffer in this age of modernity. Make an effort for yourself and to be a champion of informed choices, mindful eating, and commitment to improve cognitive functioning through the power of healthy diet. Welcome to the Diet Doctor podcast, where we discuss the science of nutrition and high performance, offering practical tools for everyday life. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulullah, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today I want to talk about the intersection between nutrition and neuroscience. And it's an incredibly fascinating and important topic, because there's a very intricate relationship between nutrition and neuroscience. And I want to delve into how what we eat influences our brains and how our brains in turn influence our dietary habits, and sort of uncover the science behind food choices, cravings, and mental health, cognitive health. Lately, the field of nutritional neuroscience has grown tremendously. Researchers are increasingly recognizing that the foods we consume can significantly impact our cognitive functioning, our emotional well-being, overall brain health. So if you want to improve your focus, enhance your mood, protect your brain from degenerative diseases, you have to understand the connection between the brain and food. Because our brains are not just engines of thought and feeling. They're dynamic organs and require a variety of nutrients to function optimally. Nutrition offers the essential building blocks for neurotransmitters, which are chemicals that transmit signals in the brain. And these neurotransmitters affect everything from our mood and energy levels to our ability to concentrate, which means that what we put on our plates has a direct influence on how we think, how we feel, how we behave. So I want to discuss several critical aspects of this connection and then explore the role of specific nutrients, the impact of diet on mental health, and long-term effects of dietary choices on brain aging and cognitive decline. So make sure that you take notes, because it's going to be, quite enlightening, hopefully. And there are some things that I want you to share with the people around you and the people that you love. So make sure that you listen to this maybe more than once to appreciate the connection between nutrition and neuroscience. First things first, you have to understand how nutrition supports these functions. And the human brain is about 60% fat and requires a constant supply of glucose, oxygen, and nutrients to perform its best. It carries out countless processes every day, managing everything from bodily functions to high-risk cognitive tasks. And these things require energy. And one of the most fundamental aspects of brain function is the role of neurotransmitters. These neurochemicals, such as serotonin, dopamine, norepinephrine, are made from the nutrients we consume. For instance, serotonin, often referred to as the feel-good neurotransmitter, is primarily produced in the brain from the amino acid tryptophan, which must be obtained through diet. Foods rich in tryptophan, like turkey, chicken, nuts, and seeds, boost serotonin levels, improve your mood. And then you have fatty acids, which are vital for maintaining the structure of the brain cells, like omega-3 fatty acids in fish, walnuts, flax seeds, are essential for building and maintaining cell membrane walls, to control communication in the brain. And a diet rich in omega-3 can enhance cognitive functioning and also reduce the risk of age-related cognitive decline, like Alzheimer's, for instance. It's important to highlight detrimental effects of a poor diet on brain health. And diets that are high in saturated fats and sugar leads to inflammation, oxidative stress, insulin resistance, all are linked to cognitive impairment. In contrast, whole foods packed with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and healthy fats support brain function and even protect against neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, which I mentioned earlier. I want to highlight the gut-brain connection, because there's a very significant role between the brain and the abdomen, the stomach. One of the most exciting areas of research in nutritional neuroscience lately is exactly that. And the gut is often referred to as the second brain. I like to call it the first brain because there are more neurons here than in the brain. And it has a substantial influence over our brain function and in turn, our mental health. And the gut houses trillions of bacteria collectively known as gut microbiome, which play a crucial role in our overall health, including our emotional well-being. And research shows that the gut health in general is linked to brain health through various pathways, through the vagus, including the vagus nerve, which connects the gut and brain directly. This means that what happens in the gut can influence how we feel and how we think. Healthy gut bacteria produces neurotransmitters and other chemicals that affect mood and cognition. For example, approximately 90% of serotonin is produced in the gut. So a diet rich in fiber, prebiotics and probiotics supports a healthy gut microbiome. Foods like fruits and vegetables, whole grains, yogurt, and fermented foods help maintain a diverse and balanced gut flora, which can have a positive effect on emotional regulation, cognitive function, and overall brain health. And make sure you eat your fruit instead of drinking your fruit for the fiber. On the flip side, diets high in processed foods like sugar and unhealthy fats can disrupt the balance of gut bacteria, leading to what's called dysbiosis, which is a condition where harmful bacteria overpowers the beneficial bacteria. And this imbalance can contribute to increased inflammation, anxiety, depression, and a host of other cognitive issues. As we recognize the importance of gut health, it becomes clear that what we choose to eat can significantly influence our mental state. And when you have this awareness, it'll empower you to make dietary choices that not only nourish the body, but also nourishes the mind. Now that we understand the gut-brain connection, I want to dive a little bit deeper into specific nutrients that are crucial for maintaining cognitive function and overall brain health. The first one is omega-3 fatty acids. As I mentioned earlier, these omega-3 fats are essential, critical for brain health because the brain is predominantly made of fat. And the two primary types, EPA and DHA, are particularly critical for maintaining the integrity of neuron structures. And studies show that individuals with higher omega-3 consumption tend to have better memory and cognitive performance. Omega-3s also have anti-inflammatory properties. They're pretty much like WD-40 on a hinge when it comes to looking after your joints. They also protect and lubricate the neurons of the brain and protect it from oxidative stress, which is one of the main reasons why we have neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and MS. So consider incorporating fatty fish like salmon, tuna, sardines, and things like that into your meals. And if you want plant-based sources, you can use things like walnuts, chia seeds, and flaxseed. The other one that's very important is antioxidants. Like vitamins C and E, they play a vital role in protecting the brain from oxidative damage caused by free radicals. And these vitamins help combat oxidative stress, which can lead to cellular damage, and that's linked to aging of the brain and, again, neurodegenerative diseases. Fruits and vegetables, which people tend to stay away from carbs, are the richest sources of antioxidants. Berries particularly, blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, are well known for their high antioxidant content. And if you incorporate a colorful variety of fruits and veg into your diet, you're going to have a wide spectrum of these, we can call them protective compounds. Then you have B vitamins, which are in particular B6, B12, and folate, which are critical for brain health. These vitamins are involved in different brain processes, including the synthesis of neurotransmitters and the maintenance of myelin, the protective sheath around the nerves. Deficiencies in these vitamins can lead to neurological issues and cognitive decline. And in order to meet your B vitamin needs, you have to include foods such as leafy green vegetables, legumes, eggs, whole eggs, by the way, whole grains, and fortified cereals in your diet. Vitamin D is another one. It's actually a hormone, although we call it vitamin D, and it's crucial. And there's crucial evidence that links it to cognitive health. Low levels of vitamin D are associated with the risk of cognitive decline and neurodegenerative diseases again, but also fatigue. And to get this vitamin, you need to be exposed to sunlight, but it's also found in fatty fish and some fortified dairy products and egg yolks. You can use supplements, but make sure when you're using supplements like vitamin D, you have them with, especially in winter when you need them more than ever, have them with meals that contain fat because they are a fat-soluble vitamin. Do not have them on their own like vitamin C. Now, inflammation is another reason why we experience cognitive decline as we get older, which isn't something that happens in the longer living communities like the blue zones. And chronic inflammation has been linked to a host of health issues, including heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease. And when your diet is not ideal, or most of it isn't ideal, we want to have 85% positive diet filled with good fats, not bad fats, to avoid inflammation in the body, which includes the brain. A diet that is rich in anti-inflammatory foods like omega-3, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, spices even like turmeric, helps mitigate these things. And turmeric in particular contains curcumin, a compound renowned for its anti-inflammatory properties. Research shows that curcumin can cross the blood-brain barrier and provide neuroprotective effects and potentially reduce the risk of cognitive decline. And to combat inflammation through diet, you would have to consider adopting what's called an anti-inflammatory dietary pattern, if you want to call it that, which emphasizes whole, nutrient-dense foods and minimize the processed and especially processed sugar in your foods when you are looking at creating a diet plan. So if you look at the correlation and the relationship between nutrition and neuroscience, you can't overlook the profound impact on mental health. And emerging research suggests that dietary choices significantly influence disorders such as anxiety and depression. There was a study conducted with researchers at the University of Melbourne that had participants who followed what's called a Mediterranean-style diet, a diet that's rich in fruits, veg, whole grains, lean protein, and healthy fats. And they experienced significant improvements in the depression scores compared to those who maintain a more typical Western diet. Keep in mind the quality of the ingredients is also very important. The nutrients previously discussed play roles in modulating mood, regulating neurotransmitters. For instance, a diet that is deficient in omega-3 fatty acids or B vitamins will contribute to a higher rate of depression and anxiety. On the flip side, nutrient-rich diets tend to report better mental health outcomes. The psychological aspect of eating can affect mood as well. So if you're engaging in mindful eating practices where you're sitting down and aware of the foods that you are eating and the pleasure of the satisfaction that comes from food, this not only enhances the experience of eating, but also leads to healthier food choices because you are conscious. And combining these insights, we see the potential to use nutrition almost as a therapeutic tool in mental health interventions. We want to encourage a diet that is rich in whole foods, combined with mindfulness and self-care practices, and have a holistic approach. And only then will you see an entire ripple effect on your physical and your cognitive well-being. The dietary choices that we make today can have long-term effects on our brain and our brain health as we age. There is an increasing amount of evidence, overwhelming amount of evidence that indicates that our eating habits significantly influence cognitive decline and neurodegenerative diseases like dementia, Alzheimer's, and all the rest that we mentioned. So if you want to explore dietary patterns and brain aging, the best example would be the Mediterranean diet for cognitive health, which is the most studied diet in relation to brain health. And this particular diet emphasizes a high intake of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and fish, along with the use of olive oil as a primary fat source. Cold though, not cooking with olive oil. And research shows that if you adhere to this dietary pattern, there's a lower risk of cognitive decline and a reduced incidence of cognitive diseases. There are many, many hypotheses that explain this protective effect. First, the anti-inflammatory and antioxidant-rich foods in the Mediterranean diet help reduce oxidative stress and inflammation, which both play a key in the way your brain ages. Second is the healthy fats from fish and olive oil support the brain structure and the function of the brain. The Mediterranean diet shows through researchers have investigated after other eating patterns, such as the DASH diet, which is dietary approaches to stop hypertension, which focuses on reducing sodium intake while promoting nutrient-rich foods. Studies suggest that individuals who adhere to what's called the DASH diet also demonstrate better performance from a cognitive perspective, and it's more than likely because of the emphasis on whole foods rather than processed foods. The next thing that I want to touch on is the correlation between calorie intake and intermittent fasting. And it's an intriguing area of research because it looks at the role of calorie intake and the way the brain ages, essentially. Caloric restriction without malnutrition has been shown to extend the lifespan of the human being and delay the onset of age-related diseases in various research. We're designed to experience the extremes, hunger and satiety. That's why we have refeeds. And what this suggests is that reducing calorie intake has a neuroprotective effect on the brain. If you look at intermittent fasting, which is an approach where the individual cycles between periods of eating and then fasting, that particular model is gaining quite a bit of popularity, not just for weight loss purposes, but also for neuroprotective benefits, or that's what the research shows. And studies have shown that intermittent fasting can enhance brain health because of its ability to reduce inflammation and promote the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is BDNF, and supporting autophagy. Autophagy is a process that helps clean out damaged cells and supports cellular repair. So essentially, the body is using toxic cells as a fuel source to get rid of them. And it's even been used in research when it comes to early onset of cancer in the early stages. So avoiding processed foods is very, very critical to avoid cognitive decline. So things like processed sugar, unhealthy fats like saturated fats. You need a little bit of saturated fat for your hormone function, but only a tiny amount. If you avoid them, you're going to avoid cognitive decline, neurodegenerative diseases, and likewise, eating them is going to increase the likelihood of these diseases. But these foods also lead to insulin resistance, inflammation, oxidative stress. They're all forms of not just physiological aging, but the way that the brain ages as well. There was a study published in the journal called Frontiers in Aging Neuroscience, and it found that participants who consumed high levels of ultra-processed foods had worse cognitive performance compared to those who consumed a diet that was rich in whole foods. Because just because something is edible doesn't make it food. And by shifting the focus away from processed foods towards a more whole food-based diet, we can mitigate these risks that are associated with cognitive decline, but also physiological decline. We have to use strategies as research is becoming more and more advanced. We tend to be regressing. So we're progressing technologically, regressing from a physical standpoint. And we need to understand these strategies to optimize nutrition for not just our brain health, but our health in general. And to do that, we have to understand how nutrition impacts our brain health and leads us to consider practical strategies in order to optimize the food choices that we make for cognitive functioning and overall mental wellness, because mental wellness has been on the decline as we've progressed from a tech perspective. And there are several actionable things that you can do. The first one is you prioritize whole foods and focus on incorporating whole food, minimally processed food into the diet. This includes copious amounts of fruits and vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, healthy fats, and ensure that your meals are colorful, because color means a diversity of nutrients. Often the food color is dictated by the type of antioxidants and phytonutrients, and your brain craves these nutrients, and sometimes you will crave them as a result. The second one is to incorporate omega-3 fatty acids regularly and aim to include omega-3 rich foods in your diet at least a couple of times a week. Fatty fish such as salmon, sardines, trout, tuna, they are excellent sources of omega-3. And if you're vegetarian or vegan, you have to incorporate ground flax seeds, chia seeds, walnuts, and ensure that you're getting an adequate amount of omega-3s, because a lot of people that go vegan tend to become micronutrient deficient because they're not eating proteins anymore. So we have to eat strategically as plant-based eaters if you are a plant-based eater. The third one is to focus on antioxidant-rich foods. Consume a variety of fruits and vegetables to boost antioxidant intake, and preferably as fruits, not as fruit juice. Berries, dark leafy greens, cruciferous vegetables, fibrous vegetables. So cruciferous ones like broccoli and kale, especially high in antioxidants that are really, really important for brain health because they're rich in things like vitamin K. Number 4 would be to stay hydrated, because staying hydrated is often overlooked, but it plays a vital role in cognitive functioning. Dehydration negatively impacts your attention, your memory, overall cognitive performance, and this is apparent with children who are dehydrated and the way that they perform academically especially. You have to aim to drink like enough water for your body, especially throughout the day, and consider incorporating hydrating foods because we eat a lot of our water. So eat things like cucumbers, oranges, watermelon because they have a large quantity of water. The 5th one is mindful eating practices, because if you incorporate mindfulness into your eating habits, you can enhance your relationship with food. We have a toxic relationship with food. Take time to appreciate the flavors, the textures, and nutritional benefits of your meals, and that has a profound effect on the way your body absorbs food and what your body does with food as a result. Be present when you are eating, and it helps foster an awareness of whether you're actually hungry or not. You're able to pay attention to satiety cues, and it makes it easier to choose healthier options intuitively. And of course, seek professional guidance. If you're unsure about making, a significant dietary change, or you want something personalized recommended to you, consider consulting with a registered dietitian or a nutritionist and get them to tailor a custom plan for you that aligns with your individual health goals and needs. In a previous episode, I went through the consultation process and why I asked the questions I asked during a consultation. You need to know the biography of the individual to create something that is not only going to work, but it's also going to be sustainable. So what we understand from this particular episode is that it's evident that there's a fascinating interplay between nutrition and neuroscience, and how it plays a central role in not only our physical health, but also our emotional well-being and cognitive function. Emotional well-being is at the forefront, especially with the rates of suicide during and post-COVID. And the nutrients we consume have the potential to empower us and enable our brains to operate at their best while supporting our mental health in the long term. And we have to understand that there's a powerful connection which gives us significant leverage. And by being intentional about the way we select food, we can harness the benefits of a well-nourished brain. The implications are profound, extending beyond personal health to impact our communities, families, and also future generations. So as we move forward, I want to challenge you to examine your dietary habits critically. Get a piece of paper, write down all the foods that are bad for you, another piece of paper, all the foods that are good for you, and analyze whether you've been avoiding these and consuming the good ones. You'll find a lot of the foods that you are consuming that are good for you, you are not consuming on a day-to-day basis. And are the foods I'm consuming actively contributing to my cognitive health? How can I incorporate more nutrient-rich foods, whole foods, into my meals while also minimizing processed food? I know it's hard to not eat processed food whatsoever, but if you minimize it to once, even twice a week, it's still a lot better than having a little bit of processed food every day. And take action this week. Don't wait for Magic Monday. Substitute one processed item with a whole food alternative starting today. Experiment with new recipes, especially make an effort to look at what is going to boost your brain when it comes to the ingredients of something that you're making at home. Incorporate more fruits and vegetables into your meals, especially in between meals when it's best to have fruits and veg on an empty stomach. Look at healthy sources of fats, walnuts, almonds, cashews, fatty fish, because you may not see a difference straight away, but you'll notice a difference over time, and you'll definitely feel it when you stop eating these foods. And remember to be mindful of the relationship between your emotional state and your dietary choices. Be aware of how certain foods make you feel both physically and mentally. You'll notice when you eat clean, you feel a lot happier than when you eat rubbish food. And this awareness can guide you toward making choices that not only satisfy your hunger, but also uplift your mood and enhance your cognitive abilities, your abilities to get tasks done and get rid of that brain fog that most of us suffer in this age of modernity. So delve deeper into the intersection of nutrition and neuroscience, because there are many, many articles that have been written about this, and make an effort for yourself and to be a champion of informed choices, mindful eating, and commitment to improve cognitive functioning through the power of healthy diet. So until the next time, embrace the journey of learning about nutrition and its impact on your brain, because nourishing your mind is as crucial as nourishing your body. Together we can strive for a future where health, wellness, and cognitive vitality are within everyone's reach, inshallah. Jazakallah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.